This is Kristen Lubin from the International Center of Photography. I'm an associate curator at the museum, and I organize an exhibition called Amelia Earhart, Image and Icon. She got her big break in 1928 when she was invited to join a flight across the Atlantic. She wasn't the pilot in that flight, but she was a passenger, and she was nonetheless the first woman to cross the Atlantic. The publicist and promoter who organized this flight set up this photo shoot very specifically to make Earhart look like Charles Lindbergh. They had her pose in ways that would really draw up their similarities, and the two did look a lot alike and have a lot of other similarities. This series of photographs, which ran everywhere in the press, earned her the nickname Lady Lindy, and that stuck to her throughout her career, much to her annoyance. This next one is a really beautiful photograph that Amelia herself took out of the plane. It's of the clouds over the Atlantic Ocean in 1928, as she was the first woman to cross the Atlantic. And this ran in a lot of the newspapers as well. People were probably fascinated to see a picture like this, but particularly taken by her. Earhart herself was not a smoker, but she agreed to participate in this ad so that she could return some funds back to some of the people who had helped put together the flight. But in fact, it wasn't entirely well received. She actually had a contract to do some articles for McCall's magazine, and when she did this ad, they thought that it was so unladylike and such a bad representation of what a woman ought to be doing that her contract was dropped. We're sort of beginning to transition from solo record-breaking flight and flying as being this solitary enterprise into the beginnings of commercial aviation, and there was a big push to try to popularize flying and make it seem less like that risk-taking, glamorous, daring enterprise. She was picked up by Cosmopolitan magazine and was made their aviation editor and did articles for them. And she wrote about trying to encourage women to try flying, to get into flying, about the fun of flying, about her experiences in the plane. She was selected for the 1928 flight by the publisher George Putnam, and she later actually married Putnam. He became her manager and promoter. He was really essential to promoting her image, to getting her a lot of the opportunities that allowed her to continue flying. One of the ways that Earhart was able to fund her flying was through a grueling lineup of lecture tours. She lectured almost constantly, and she was a very popular lecturer. And this is a flyer for a lecture that she gave in Tucson. The big events that got her news attention or got her in the newspapers and magazines when she would break a record or she would have a major flight. And between those events, it was really important that public recognition remain there. So Earhart and George Putnam would cook up different photo ops or different events to get press attention.